Hello again everyone and welcome to round 5. We're in Barcelona this time. Circuit de Catalunya in Spain should be very good. We've been with that F1 for feels like forever, maybe only 3 weeks, possibly 4. And during that period of time without F1 we've had a bit of testing. Not really much news though. Rumours of Mark Webber to Ferrari potentially, but it's been rather swept away. I really haven't had much of interest to look at in the last few days. Testing at Mugello and I think possibly another track as well. Every team with their press release saying that they've improved quite a bit, they're confident for the future, but I don't actually see much overall changing. So my predictions are similar to in previous weeks, and that's kind of why really. The circumstances have been such that they've had rain and stuff, and they've only had about 3 days or something, but who knows. I think the team that has most to gain is someone like Ferrari, so high hopes for them, but other teams are probably just inched further forward collectively, and so no real gain is terribly likely in my opinion. So yeah. Last round's results in Bahrain, well, I didn't see the Lotus team with their double podium coming. Vettel, a bit of a surprise as well, taking the win. McLaren's were a bit poor, although the strategy did affect them quite heavily. I'm not going to dwell too much on those results. I didn't do that well. And in the first 4 races it's quite unusual to have 4 different winners, 4 different teams, and with such inconsistency from just about everybody on the grid. So it's very interesting going forward. Now we're in Europe, and the races will be in quick succession as well, so it's important that teams have a good race this time. So here we go, quick fire, going with history really. Hamilton very good around this track. We'll go for a Hamilton pole. Pole's going to be very important in this weekend. I think historically that the pole position, this track is one of the most important places to have pole position, because overtaking is such, even with the RS and even with the tyres, although it'll help, I think grid position will largely dictate the result. So really I can only see well, Hamilton, once he's on pole, getting the win as well. I think the Red Bulls have increased their pace recently. I think they're getting the most out of their current package. It maybe took them a little while longer than McLaren, for example. So I'm going for Vettel and Webber to clear out the podium. Furthermore, Vettel getting fastest lap. Good history of fastest lap. He seems to be the only driver that really strives for fastest laps. It's good to see him caring about statistics. It's quite good. So yeah, I've gone for a Rosberg 4th. The Mercedes are a little bit inconsistent. I don't see them really challenging for the win, but Rosberg's driving very well, full of confidence after a win, and should get a very solid 4th place, I think. Jensen, tough to really describe his season so far after a win, and then a crash with HRT in Malaysia, and it's been a bit up and down for Jensen. I don't know, I see him just being mired in the pack, and if he gets a bad qualifying, which he isn't the best at qualifying, if he gets a bad qualifying position I see him struggling to get much further than about 5th place. Raikkonen, after a very good podium and almost a shout for the win in last time's race, looking pretty strong at the Lotus. I'm not getting my expectations too high though. I would like the Lotus to do very well. I'd quite enjoy them winning, especially if Raikkonen was to come back and win. That would be quite something. I don't see him doing it necessarily this time. I need to see a few more races before I decide to give him something higher than 6th. Very strong and solid, and they're looking very good for the constructors at the end of the year, but right now I'm not quite sure if they're going to win. But it's all about tyres. So that car seems to be pretty good on the whole at keeping the tyres, so looking pretty okay. Schumacher 7th, complaining a lot recently about the Pirelli tyres and that it takes a bit of the driving skill, in fact, out of it, because it's not about ultimate pace anymore in the same way, and different skills are required, but maybe at the pinnacle of motor racing is this, it's not quite to his favour, at least while he's not winning, but that may change if he has a bit more success. Alonso, hopefully a rejuvenated Ferrari and the driver himself, very good for the first 4 rounds, but the car definitely lacking. They've done a lot of testing, they had the most to gain, so really they should have found some strides, and they've already updated some of the aero packaging around the rear. I honestly don't know what this does beyond looking slightly aesthetically better. Hopefully they'll do much better though. I've got quite high hopes, and if anybody's going to deliver, it's going to be Alonso. Massa shouldn't be around the fringes of the top 10, hopefully. Grosjean 9th, good showing last time round. Won't necessarily get the better of Raikkonen, but a good solid outing yet again in the 5th race of the season for him. Some good points in 9th. Perez 10th for Sauber. Sauber have come out recently and reiterated their sort of progress, and Malaysia's not a one-off. They have genuinely made some grounds, and according to their press releases, so I see them maintaining their current position really. So many teams being quite strong, it is going to be hard for them to get too many points. So I've got them down for 1 point in 10th. I don't think Kobayashi will be too far behind. So, yeah, really, it's going to be difficult. I could be completely wrong. It's going to be difficult to overtake unless tyre wear is a big factor. And if tyre wear is a big factor, then just about anybody can win. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident about those predictions. It should be nice to see some more Formula 1 on the TV. It's very good. Bahrain went by without a hitch. Unfortunately, there really hasn't been much news in between, but maybe that makes it all the more eagerly anticipated, really, because we just don't know what's going to happen. It's so difficult to predict this year so far, and as such, really, I can't be blamed too much for being a little off on my predictions thus far. So yeah, it should be very good. I'm not sure of the climate in May for Spain, but I imagine it's going to be pretty warm, so that could affect the tyres as well. The DRS hopefully will work a little bit better than in Bahrain. It didn't quite work out. But yeah, should be a very good race, and I'm looking forward to some more F1 action. I'll of course be back for round 6, which I think is in a couple of weeks' time from now. But anyway, thanks for joining me on this video, and hope to see you again in the future.